is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.
A number of public officials in Nigeria have spoken up against the planned nationwide protests in the country, expressing worry that the protests could degenerate into violence. And this position has been echoed by the Nigeria Defense Headquarters, who believe that the protests could lead to anarchy and destabilize the country's peace. Now, the Nigerian Army has stated that while it recognizes the constitutional rights of Nigerians to peaceful protests, it is concerned that the protests could mirror events witnessed in Kenya, which have turned violent. Now, joining us this morning to discuss the issues is security expert Tony Ofoyeton. Mr. Ofoyeton, good morning and welcome to the conversation.
Good morning. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Mr. Ofoyeton, what is your reaction to the statements from public officials and the army regarding the possibility of the protests in Nigeria turning out to be violent?
Let me start by laying a foundation that if the government had been up and doing, if the economy had not nosedived adversely, if security had not been a challenge, if basic necessities have been met, at least averagely, I am not too sure of anybody that would have been talking about protest. Not to talk of having support or this type of patronage from the people and the government itself. Now, having said so, I can also relate with the position of security agencies. I'm not actually going to be talking for politicians because the challenges that the security agencies are having now are challenges that were actually caused by the political class. Normally, the soldiers are not supposed to even be heard in a civil society. I think we should only be talking about the police. But as it is now, I must assure you that they are not wrong if they say that Nigerians should not come out to protest now. And the reason is simple. You see, the few people that will come out to protest peacefully will remind others at home, others that are looking and observing of their pain, of their economic pain, of their medical pain, of their psychological trauma. And before you know what is happening, you will begin to have sympathizers growing. So it's going to start from the youth, and the adults will join, and even other people will join. Now, miscreants too will also take advantage of that. And the reason is because as we speak today, Nigeria is more toxic than Kenya. So if it happens, you are talking of a society where within the space of less than 1 year, the dollar has skyrocketed in such a manner that is unprecedented. The economic indices in this country are such that have defied all economic solutions. Now you are talking of a society that, as we speak today, traders are fluctuating with dollars and whatever. You buy something 10 naira today.
Mr. Ofoyeton, if I may, let me interrupt you, sir, and ask you this. Yes. If this is the situation on the ground, then how should security agencies be responding at the moment?
Now, it's good enough that they've been able to come out to say that, look, people should not go on protest. The only thing I would encourage and encourage the security agencies not to do is one, don't threaten the people. Secondly, don't play on their intellect. And thirdly, try to as much as possible align yourself with them. And fourthly, in the event of any group of people coming out, don't use force. As much as possible, relate to them in such a manner that one, they will be as peaceful as possible and prevent miscreants from joining them. Coordinate and regulate them in designated places that will not in any way whatsoever lead to violence. That is in the case of any one of these books coming out. The reason is this. In most cases, violence from protests at times are actually, caused by some of the security agencies and some of the auxiliary officers. When you get a protest ground, the first thing you do is not to shoot a tear gas. The first thing you do is not to shoot gun into the air. Because what you do at that point in time is that you make people to scatter and begin to run helter-skelter. And at the same time, you also make some of them, you make anger to do what? To come up from the protesters. So, and before you know what is happening, if there's an action, there will be a reaction.
So let me ask this. Now, talking about the security angle, shouldn't our security apparatus be able to guarantee that peaceful protests, which are constitutionally backed rights of every citizen, can happen in the country? Shouldn't our security agents be able to protect protesters and prevent miscreants from hijacking the protests as we've seen in the past?
It is possible. Very possible. But the cost implication is very enormous. And it is better to prevent, protesters from coming. Like I told you, me as a security professional, I can tell you without being a soothsayer that the level of toxicity in the country is too high. It's higher than that of the time of ENSAS. It's far, far higher. ENSAS was against police brutality. We are talking about governance holistically at national level now. ENSAS was just an item. And that is why, for me as a person, for now, I think that, because look as we speak, it is possible that security agencies come all out. But you are talking about 2 million Nigerians against police security agencies as a whole. They are not up to 2 million. 200 million Nigerians, we are talking about maybe 2 million security agencies all over the country.
Right.
And the police forces, which is more or less like the highest, is just about 500,000. So you just look at the numerical strength, you will see that it may be very challenging. Not
right,
that whether they have the expertise to curtail violence, yes, they do. But do they have the strength, the numerical strength? The answer is no.
Well, Mr. Ofoyeton, thank you very much for speaking with us this morning. Mr. Tony Ofoyeton is a security expert. He joined us to speak on the nationwide protests that are planned for the month of August. The Nigerian Army has talked about the security implications of this protest, and a number of elected officials have come out to appeal for the protests to not happen, as they are concerned about the protests degenerating into violence and anarchy. You're still on to your Beyond the News station, Radio Now 95.3 FM Lagos. The conversations continue in just a moment. Do stay with us.
This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.